Hey, Junior Golf Hub, thanks for having me on. Huge honor. Been great to see you guys grow over the years. And now with the addition of the Junior Golf Hub rankings, I'm excited to see where you guys get in the next 2 or 3 years. But thanks for having me on to talk about some of the scholarship and roster limit changes in college golf and the NIL impacts and some other considerations to make in the recruiting world, because we're seeing a big shakeup right now, especially with the class of 2025 and the class of 2026. A lot of the questions that I've fielded have been based around how has recruiting changed? So let me start there. Right now, the rumor is, it's all speculation at this point. To my knowledge, there's been no legislation pushed through just yet. But at the beginning of the summer, it was like the end of May, early June, a lot of coaches started to hear rumblings of scholarship limit changes and also roster limit changes. And then I think it was middle of June, we heard confirmed that the scholarship limit will be raised to 9 and the roster limit will be at 9. So and just to inform the listeners out there that are unaware, in prior years, the scholarship limit for men was 4.5, and the scholarship limit for women's Division I golf was 6. D2 level was, I think it's 3.6 for men, and I think it's 4.5 for women on the D2 side, which is equivalent to the D1 side for men. So all that means is that the opportunity to give scholarships in college golf, if the school wants to, and they're able to, then they can fund up to that many scholarships. But think about it this way. If we were in the past, we're an equivalency sport where if a coach, let's say a coach in Division I only has 1 scholarship, they can cut that piece of the pie however they want. They could give that to 1 player. They could give that to 10 players. In the future, it's going to be a full boat or nothing. To my knowledge and my understanding today, we are going to be more like a head count sport, like a football team or a volleyball team, where we give out full scholarships or no scholarships. I think there's going to be less walk-ons in Division I. I think there's going to be a lot less, legacy recruits. Just adding in a recruit in hopes that he becomes something because his dad played for the program or his grandfather was a great running back for the football team or something like that. I think we're going to see a lot less of that. And I think we're going to see more reliance and attention into the transfer portal. So just the sheer numbers of it. Pre-COVID, my numbers, and these are estimates at the end of the day, but they're fairly accurate estimates. Pre-COVID, men's golf was at 9.8 per team. Women's golf was like 8.6 or 8.7. Post-COVID, so 2022, 2023, we're talking here, men's rosters got up to about 11 or even 11.2. So let's just talk about what that means. And I don't know how big the women's rosters got because I didn't do that data search. But with the men's rosters, if they're at 11 right now, and they've already come down slightly, but let's say they came down to that 11 mark, you're still having to eliminate 2 players from every team, and they're going to be looking elsewhere. They're going to go to the transfer portal. They might stay at the school and finish a degree and play club golf, or they might look elsewhere. All right, some might even take gap years, and if they haven't done so already, the NCAA eligibility rules still allow for that. But what that means is that there's going to be about 600 players displaced out of Division I. So what I'm seeing in my everyday business is that Division II teams, not all, but top 20, top 30 programs in the country, especially down here in the Southeast in the Sunshine State Conference or the Peach Belt, and there's some other teams in Texas and Oklahoma and California that I can't speak on. They're still very competitive. They're already making adjustments because they know that come next fall, they might have these 600 players into the transfer portal and they might fall into their lap. So where a Division II program would even be looking at 2 or 3 recruits for the class of 2025, they may only be looking for 1 or 2 players this year. So it's changed things quite significantly. A lot of coaches that I'm calling are telling me that they're in a holding pattern. I heard that at the Division I level starting in June. It became very apparent that almost every division school was feeling that way by the end of July. And then now we're starting to see even junior college level, like Eastern Florida, Coach Howell's super competitive here. some other really good JUCOs, and even like top-notch Division II schools like North Georgia, they have no need, for a middle of the road, their average recruit in past years. So where this gets really challenging is in my business, when a family comes to me and we build a database of schools, we try to give them a general rule based on past history. Now, with scholarship limit changes and roster limit changes, all this history is out the window. So what I'm trying to do with my players is give them the most educated guess. Just kind of take a step down. Where in the past, if we had reach, target, and safety schools on the list, we're eliminating, 20 or 30% of those reach schools right now, just to make sure we're more realistic. And even then, there's some cases where, if we're looking super high academic, if we're super picky about where we are location-wise, or we're just looking at a big school per se. And as a general rule, I would say if you're looking at a more competitive school, regardless of what it is, if it's location, if it's academics, if it's athletics, whatever it may be, you're gonna have a harder time in this environment, in this landscape right now, getting interest from coaches under that. So the roster size impacts have had a huge impact on the world of college sports, and especially the world of college golf right now. The recruiting landscape has changed and shifted, and really a lot of things have been put on pause. This has been a very, very difficult time for the class of 2025 and 2026. I am busier than ever fielding questions and conversations from any partner academies that I'm with, my current clients, the FSGA relationships, the Florida State Golf Association partnership that I have, just a lot of questions coming in about what's going on. And really what I think is important for me to share is, from coaches' standpoint, they don't really know how this is all going to pan out. We don't know when this is going to be put in place, but the rumors are that the scholarship limit is going to be 9. A school can fund that if they have the ability and willingness to do so. And then the roster limit will be at 9 as well. And on the men's side, we're really going to feel that constrict us with the class of 2025 and 2026. On the women's side, the rosters, in theory, would actually get bigger if they went to 9. But I don't think schools are going to fund these programs right away, like some people think they will. If a school's fully funded in Division I at 4.5, they might get 6 scholarships by next year. And that would be a very advantageous thing for that program. But I don't think many of these programs will go to 9. If I were to guess, I would say 20 or 30% of these athletic departments will give the go-ahead to fund more scholarships. I don't know how many are going to fund up to 9, but I would bet it'd be a very small number, especially right away. Now, those scholarship increases over time, come 2027, 2028, 2029, if there is the funding and willingness to do so by the AD and the athletic department heads, I could see that happening. But I think it'll be a 4 or 5 year process. Okay, so first things first, I think the class of 2025 and 2026 are being most affected, especially those late bloomer 2025s looking Division II, Division III, and those elite 2026s. And I think as we go on, as the recruiting cycle continues, we're going to see even some of those mid-majors having to really constrict it and pause conversations with even some of those elite to mid-tier 2026 recruits as well.